We're heading back to the States and the Baa Baa Brewhouse. This one though is called On the Lamb. It is a hazy India Pale Ale with Citra, Mosaic and Cascade hops. But what's it going to be like? Can it be as good as the unusual suspects? Keep on watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to do the second beer from the Baa Baa Brewhouse. This one is called On the Lamb and it is a hazy India Pale Ale. This one's 7% and it's got Citra, Mosaic and Cascade hops in it. So without further ado, let's get this beer out of the can and into a glass and see whether can be as good as the other one. I mean, the other one was pretty good. I don't think it wasn't the best beer that I ever drank. Maybe that's just because of its, you know, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's a little bit older, but I did find there was a little bit of hop burn. This one's a little bit less in terms of ABV at 7%, but certainly looks very similar in the glass. It looks slightly lighter to you here, but here it's quite a sort of dark orange, very, very hazy, very thick looking beer. We've just got one finger sliver really of head there. It looks pretty good though. Let's see what the aromas are like. Certainly smells very similar. You know, you've got big strong mango and peach. Yeah, smells pretty much like that. Peach, mango. Maybe a little hint of grapefruit in there, not much else. Let's dig in, shall we? Cheers, everyone. Yeah. Very similar, certainly mouthfeel similar. Yeah, it's a little bit more danker. I think that's because of the mosaic hops in it. It's just got a little bit more of that sort of earthiness about it. Again, it's got that sort of slight sort of spring onion sort of taste to it. But there's lots of very strong mango, maybe a bit of apricot, peach. Those sort of stone fruits is very, very strong with this beer. There's not much in terms of, I'm waiting for something to happen at the end. It doesn't really sort of, you know, big sort of juicy mango and peach flavours. And then it sort of gives way to a sort of dry finish. And there's not much else. You're not getting a little bit of a hit of grapefruit in there. Not getting much of citrus in there. It's a little one note really for me. It does taste stronger, danker than what you probably would expect from a 7% IPA. I don't think there's as much hop burn as there was in the last beer, but there's more earthiness to this beer. Very, very sort of strong flavours, almost to the point where you're almost getting too much hop taste than you are getting fruit taste to this. I think I'm a little bit disappointed with this one. It's just a little bit too heavy for me. It's juicy, but it's very sort of dry as well. And it does coat the whole mouth really. And you're waiting for something a little bit more brighter, a little bit more refreshing, and you're not getting that with this beer. This is a beer that you would never call refreshing. It drinks very much to me certainly in terms of its mouthfeel. It's thick in body. You know, there's literally no carbonation. It drinks more like a sort of double IPA to me. I've had certain double IPAs, you know, even the recent ones that we had, the Northern Monk one, the double IPAs I've had from Polly's before. It's got this sort of flavour to it. And I'm sure there's people out there that love that sort of flavour, but for me, it's a little bit too dank. It's a little bit too sweaty, if that really describes it. It's not bad though. It's you know, it's a good quality beer. There's a lot of hops going into this, but I just want something a little bit brighter. It tastes a little dull, a little too earthy for me. I think I've tasted enough though, so let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Baa Baa Brewhouse on the Lamb. This is a Hazy India Pale Ale coming at 7%, Citra, Mosaic and Cascade hops. It's a bit of a weird one really, because it almost tastes, a lot of beers that we have drink lower ABV than their actual ABV, but this tastes a little bit higher. Not in terms of its strength, but just in terms of its whole profile. It just really comes across like a double IPA, but it isn't. It's a single IPA. It's at the higher level, at 7%, but it's very thick, it's very dank, it's very sweaty, it's very earthy. It's very big on stone fruit flavours. But let's go through the scores. So first things first. Aroma. It wasn't, I mean, compared to the unusual suspects, it wasn't as sort of bright in terms of its aroma. Again, you're smelling it now, there's definitely a sort of dankness to it. There's stone fruits aplenty, mango, but real ripened mango, overripened mango, peach, apricot even. And then there's this sort of peppery, spring onion, earthy, sort of savoury note to it. But in this instance, just it spoils it a little bit. It's almost like there's a bit of pepper, white pepper in it as well. It's very sort of, I think the thing is with the aroma, you want to smell it and go, oh, it smells really juicy and fruity, and it's really going to get my taste buds going. But it doesn't. You don't have that with this. Yes, the aroma is strong, but it's not. It's not really overly inviting. So I'm giving it 13 for aroma. Appearance-wise, well, it's a lovely colour. Look at that. Beautiful sort of orangey colour. But the head is pretty much disappeared. We didn't have much head to start with. Yeah, it's a nice colour. Certainly very thick and hazy. I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10 for appearance. And flavour-wise, well, even though those flavours are similar to the aromas, big mango, peach, apricot, real sort of overly ripe, dank, slightly savoury. It's not the sort of beer that's refreshing at all. There's a nice, thick, gloopy type of mouthfeel. There's the carbonation is pretty much non-existent in this beer, but it just coats your mouth. It tastes the flavours. Those sort of fruit flavours are very strong and a little bit sweaty. That's the best description I can give to it really. They're as if they've been sort of sitting there for a little bit too long. I don't know if that's to do with the freshness of the beer, but they just don't, it doesn't sing, and it's not bright. So those flavours are not bright. So although the flavours are strong and they're pleasant, it's missing something for me. So I'm giving it 33 for flavour. Value for money. Well, again, another £8 odd can of beer. This is quite expensive. And to be honest, I've had a lot better for £5 really. Yes, it's from the States. Yes, it's in a slightly bigger can than your 440. It's a 4770, something like that. It's, there's a lot of hops gone into this. But I'm giving it similar to the other one, 7 out of 10, I think, for value. And then my overall experience, well, I'm a little bit disappointed with this one. Again, my expectations were high, but there's something about this beer that's very strong, and it's strong not in alcohol. I'm not getting the hot burn that I got with the other one, but I'm getting such a strong dank flavour. It tastes to me like what a lot of double IPAs taste like, and that's a little bit. I don't really want that from an IPA. I want the creamy mouthfeel. I want the soft mouthfeel. I want low carbonation, which this has. But I want something a little bit brighter, a little bit more refreshing, a little bit more zingy, a little bit more zesty. And I'm not getting zestiness. I'm not getting real juice with this. I'm getting almost pulp. I'm getting real solid, thick fruit flavours. So I'm giving it 12 from my... So, tighten those scores up. We get a respectable but not an amazing 73. It's recommended, but to be honest, there are better beers that you can buy for the price point of this beer. It's a good beer. If you like your beers more on the double IPA side, then I think you'll probably like this. But for me, again, I'm spending that sort of money for an IPA. I want something a little bit more refreshing than I'm getting here. Here I'm getting very dank, overly ripened fruit flavours. it tastes stronger than it, you know, there's a strongness in terms of the flavour. Not necessarily the alcohol, but the flavour is strong. That you would think, yeah, if you drank this blind, you'd think it's a double IPA. So 73, not bad. Okay, so the two from here are a mixed bag. That's from the Baa Baa Brewhouse. Certainly glad I tried them. They weren't the amazing, stunning beers that I had high expectations of. I know that their sour beers are, you know, are very highly rated. Certainly if you go on Untappd, you'll see them at the, you know, certainly in the high sort of mid fours, but you know, I've looked at the prices of those and they're like 10 quid a can. That's ridiculously expensive, I think, for one can of beer, when you can get some good Vault City beers for less money than that. So anyone else had Baa Baa Brewhouse, let me know. If there's one that sticks out to you that was incredible, then let me know in the comments. We'll want to try more of them, but definitely these American beers, I think, again, you've got to be wary that when you buy them, they might have been sitting around a long. These have been around 1, 2, 3, 4 months or so. So I'd still say that's pretty fresh. I mean, I've bought ones from that are UK brewers that are this sort of age. So I don't think that, you know, I don't think that the quality of these has dropped because of that, because of the age, and because of they obviously come from the States. But for me, they just drink a lot higher. They've got this real strong taste to them, which some people are going to love, some people aren't going to love. So, but for me, not quite as good as I expected. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to get all the content that I provide for you. It really helps the channel. You know, the more subscribers I have. And until the next one, you know what you got to do. Keep on rocking.